You silly doggy. Hey, how you doing? I've published a few videos now without properly introducing myself. My name is Jay McAkron, and I am a third generation Jehovah's Witness, and that is why I am doing these videos both on the Adventist and the Jehovah's Witnesses, because after having come out of the Jehovah's Witnesses in 1995, after reading Ray Franz's book, Crisis of Conscience, I immediately flew down to Georgia and met with him and his wife, Cynthia. I also had the opportunity to do some minor collaborative work with Ray on his second book, In Search of Christian Freedom. And I shouldn't forget to say that my wife is an Adventist, so that is why I'm able to kind of cross between these two worlds and offer a unique perspective on both of these denominations. That is what I'm now sharing with you on this brand new YouTube channel. And oh, by the way, I have 6 subscribers, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. I never thought I'd ever have any subscribers, but there you go. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and God bless. This video is going to be a few brief observations about the names of these denominations. I will preface my remarks by saying that I am sure the initial study groups, which contributed to the Millerites and the Bible students that predated the JWs, were of noble intent. But, as Dr. Thomas Wadsworth has identified, the church was founded in the living room and it was never intended to move to the stadium. Rumor has it that the earliest Adventists resisted the formation of an organized church institution for fear of it becoming Babylon. I would say that those fears were not unfounded, since that is precisely what took place. The moment that the church moves from the living room to the church building with creeds and clergy imposed upon the laity is the moment that it is captured by the world and subverted. In the years leading up to 1914, the International Bible students under Charles Russell had formulated from the book of Daniel that Jesus would return to the earth in 1914. After the inevitable disappointment, they reformulated that prediction for an unfalsifiable move made in heaven by Jesus. This strategy allowed them to retain the seminal date without confessing error. Even so, the pre prediction sensational anticipation would eventually fade into post climatic disappointment and apathy in the absence of a new sensation. In short, the accounts receivable base was in jeopardy. A good market strategist knows that a company must always have a current gimmick, a sustainable market relevance, a raison d'etre, as the French so eloquently put it, a reason to exist. Thus, in 1931, the successor to Charles Russell, Joseph Rutherford, hit upon the new reason to be, the new mission statement, to proclaim the name Jehovah to the nations. Since the Masoretes had replaced the Tetragrammaton with Adonai and Elohim, Rutherford found opportunity to claim conspiratorial corruption of the Bible, and a new church mission to restore the sacred name was born. So in 1931, the International Bible Students of 1914 infamy officially rebranded as the Jehovah's Witnesses. In the same way, when Jesus failed to appear in 1844, the principal Millerites quickly pivoted to a Sabbatarianism introduced through Seventh day Baptist Rachel Oakes Preston. Since simple Sabbatarianism was already a commonly held position, albeit by first day observers, and since this Baptist group had before introduced a return to the seventh day, a distinguishing doctrine of unique relevance was still in need. So in 1847, 3 years after the failed 1844 Advent, Ellen White set about to create a unique Seventh day Sabbatarianism by predicating the mark and seal of God on this work required for salvation. With that, the Millerite band was set apart from those Baptists who did not teach the observance of days as a matter of salvation, thus carving out a niche market. Taken in isolation, one may argue the plausibility of good intentions within one or the other of these sects. But Two side-by-side comparative models separated by more than a half century in time severely undermines that argument. Since both denominations have followed an identical point-for-point pattern, the probability of a strategic business model is more likely than not. Rather than preaching the good news of salvation to the nations, both groups were founded on drawing existing believers away from their churches. Their methods are identical to those of the first century Judaizers as disclosed by Paul in Galatians 4:17. Those people are zealous to win you over, but for no good. What they want is to alienate you from us so that you may have zeal for them. Ironically, the Adventist Church is now finding itself infiltrated by that final stage of Judaizing, the Hebrew roots heresy. Since Ellen White led her followers in the first step away from Christ and back to the altar of dead works spoken of in Hebrews 6:1, the last step to the synagogue of unbelievers is now inevitable. Revealing my schizotypal tendencies, I wonder if the biblical concepts of a new name has relevance here. Abram became Abraham, Jacob, Israel, Cephas, Simon became Peter, and the faithful of Pergamum in Revelation 2:17 are also promised a new name. Antithetically, the God of the world also attaches great importance to a new name, as seen in the practice of secret societies like the Masons, Golden Dawn, Rosicrucians, and neo pagan Wiccan covens. Upon receiving their new names, signifying a birth into the kingdom by deception, both of these denominations were blessed with inordinate power, influence, and wealth beyond belief, just as it was promised also to Jesus. Well, I'll leave that to your imagination. As always, thanks for watching, and may God have mercy on all and preserve our souls for a better day.